Welcome to the Purple Portal. It is so delightful to be back live with you all. This is Elaine Bartlett, and it is a beautiful day here in South Florida. My thought for you to open with is, so, if you just let thoughts and feelings be without attributing beliefs or power to them, they aren't going to hurt you. One more time. So, if you just let thoughts and feelings be without attributing belief or power to them, they aren't going to hurt you. And when upset happens, you'll learn how to accept life as it is. And you'll see occurrences happening rather than it's something personal happening to you. Because when you think something's happening to you, it causes nothing but resistance. And I know a lot of resistance is out there. I've been through my own mud puddle of it yesterday. And you can't help it. Look, we have to learn to help it. We have to learn to quickly identify it, embrace it, accept it, and let it go, or my favorite words, drop it. Is it challenging? Especially at the beginning of any new exercise. We're so used to holding on that we don't even realize the danger we're in because of the fact that our little fingers are paralyzed practically from the holding on experience. So we have a lot to talk about today, and I hope that many of you got to listen in last week with my sort of lovely soft approach to serenity. If you didn't, pull it up sometime when you're out and about and just need to be serenity-ized. It will make you feel very good. And here we go. I've given a couple of times now in the past two weeks or so my special lemon drink. And I have had so many calls on this or emails or texts that I have to finally put this out. This is the end. I'm not doing this again. I think you have to understand where I'm coming from in this special lemon drink and adjust it accordingly. You are you. You have your own sacred temple. Your temple may or may not need the exact proportions or exactly what I'm using. So the original remedy was to rebalance my pH levels so that I had a better balance of acid and alkaline. Why would we want to do that? That is how you keep your body very healthy and away from any nasty disease that begins with the letter C. So you keep yourself away from it with a balanced acid and alkaline setting in your balance. So to achieve that, here's what I was doing. Bought some lemons, organic. Why organic? You just stand a slightly better shot at not being poisoned. That's the story with organic. I had some bottled water. Once again, in South Florida, I will not drink the tap water. It scares the bejeebers out of me. So it depends on where you live and how clean your water is. So I warmed up some water. I really didn't bring it to a boil. And I'm taking my time so that you all understand why I would do something or not. I know that warm water is better for you. It's better for your kidneys. It's not such a shock to the kidneys to have room temperature or warm water. So I warmed the water about a cup. If it was 7 ounces versus 8, 9 ounces versus 8, it's all okay. You might like a little more water or a little less water. Do your thing. Then I had squeezed my whole fresh lemon, okay? Took the whole lemon. I don't use bottled lemon juice or anything like that. Squeezed it, put it into the water. To this, I added anywhere from a half a teaspoon to a full teaspoon, 3/4 of a teaspoon, depending on how the wind was blowing that day, which was the right proportion. And that was a quarter or half or 3/4 or a full teaspoon of baking soda. Good old Arm & Hammer. A new box. Do yourself a favor. Spend the 89 cents on a new box rather than the one that's been in your refrigerator for 6 years. To that, I added, very simply, apple cider. Now, many of you wondered, why not apple cider vinegar? Well, I suppose that might be better for you. Truthfully, probably is. It's a little more alkaline. However, I'm rather finicky. I can't always get that down. And the object was to get the baking soda and lemon down my throat. So I just added a little apple cider. The store that I happen to go to in South Florida, believe it or not, in the middle of summer, still carries fresh apple cider. It's not available in all areas of this country. So you might not even need the apple cider. My sweet tooth is having a difficult time in its demise. So that's why I would add that. And some days I would add 1/4 of a teaspoon of this Manuka honey. Now, I buy what is called the 20 factor or the 20 grade because that's the health grade. That's like the energy boost to my immune system with its real boost factor. Sometimes I add it, sometimes I don't. Today so far, I haven't had one of my lemon drinks. Some days I do, some days I don't. I don't do very well following every day some sort of dogmatic religion, like drink the lemon drink. I'm just not wired that way. For those of you that are wired that way, have a great time. For those of you who have a serious issue with cancer, you need it every day, probably 3 times a day, to get that alkaline right where it needs to be in balance. So that's the end of my lemon drink story now. And I hope you all got it and understand I'm me. I have to do things lightly, delicately, not heavy-handed. It's just the way I'm wired. Some of you are wired completely differently. As a matter of fact, all of you are wired completely differently because that's our thumbprint, that's our imprint here. If there is any questions about this lemon drink, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right, and so the number to speak now is 321-806-3159. 321-806-3159. And if you're very brave, well, actually not so brave, but still want to contact me about this, you can also go on my email, purpleportal@gmail.com. I do hope that some of you received my blog yesterday, and I will explain that because I think it must have been a mystery to many of you. But a few months ago, I was very devout at blogging, and then all of a sudden it just dropped away. Well, over the weekend with my snake encounters, I thought, this is worth a blog. It meant a lot to me, and it takes me a long time to set these things up and to present it in a way that can enlighten you and lighten up your life. So at any rate, I put it into my Word in my computer, and then I thought, there has to be a way to put this through my major mailing list on GoDaddy. I'd never done it before. I didn't think it was possible, but I began poking around, and all of a sudden, shazam, it lifted itself onto the page. So without, and it sort of took off without me. So without any, notice to you, and I hope it wasn't too abrasive, that it was a simple blog. Now, several of you have actually responded to that blog. It's like, oh, I got the memo. I understand. Mostly these were people who have seen my blogs when it was coming through my own website. And so they identified it right away. If you didn't see it, it's worth a read. Yes, it looks kind of long, but it does move along quickly. That's my temperament. Move it along, keep up, and read it. And read it with thought and see what it brings to you. It's a gift. Enjoy the gift. All right, my next topic, before I can get on to the real topic here, which is going to be about the seed year. Very quickly, over the weekend, I had shared with a couple of new gal pals my DVD of the movie Vaxxed, Vaxxed. It is in DVD form for any of you who wish to purchase it. It was very fascinating to see the reaction and the responses of these two new friends. One was very open to it. The other open, questioning. Questioning is good. We need questioning. And all in all, it was a successful showing. The next day, I spoke with one of my new friends, and she said something that was very profound, and I gave it a lot of thought. She mentioned a mutual acquaintance, and she mentioned she had shared with that acquaintance what she had done the night before. She saw this movie, and you think she'd like to see it, etc. And here was, I don't know if I've gotten the quote exactly, but it's close enough. I don't need to see it. I don't want to know. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. And I thought, wow. And now this, please, is a quote-unquote spiritual person, which, of course, makes my skin crawl, but nonetheless, there's nothing I can do about it. And I thought, well, I actually spoke up and said, wait just a second. There's, of course, something to do about it. You get the information. You research it some more if it doesn't make sense to you. You research it until you're clear one way or another. Either it's the biggest hoax or it's got some merit. And if it has some merit, then you, without ever saying another word, stand very quietly about the idea that too many vaccines too fast are harmful. That's the thrust of the message. Too much at one time. The message is not, don't ever do that. So it was very, very interesting. The corruption that is exposed by the whistleblower in this documentary it takes your breath away. Well, why would I want to know about corruption on the planet? So I can recognize it, steer clear of it, wish them well. They're on an agenda. I don't know what their agenda is, but steer clear. So again, I remind you, information is power. You can change your frequency. And that's how you do it. You stand crisp and clean and clear in, no, I'm not swallowing everything you're telling me. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. No, thank you. I'm not going to take that flu shot this year. There's too much aluminum in it. And aluminum, yes, it does lead to Alzheimer's.